Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both fascinating and a bit surprising: the dramatic drop in the size of modern armies. Can you believe that during World War II, there were around 127.5 million soldiers mobilized worldwide? Today, the combined size of the world's armies is much smaller. For example, China, with the largest active-duty military, has fewer than 2 million soldiers. The United States has under 1.5 million, and many nations have far smaller forces. So what caused this exponential decrease in the size of modern armies? To understand this change, we first need to look back at World War II. At its peak, the war mobilized around 125 million military personnel worldwide. The Soviet Union alone contributed approximately 34 million soldiers, while the United States had over 16 million. Other major powers, including Germany, Japan, and the United Kingdom, also fielded millions of troops. This massive mobilization was a response to the unprecedented scale of the conflict, which involved multiple theaters of war and required vast numbers of personnel to fight on land, sea, and air. The sheer scale of World War II armies was unprecedented. Soldiers were drafted en masse, and entire economies were geared toward the war effort. The U.S. implemented the Selective Service Act, which allowed for the conscription of millions of men. This was a time when the concept of total war meant that entire nations were involved in the conflict, with civilian and military resources intertwined. For instance, factories were repurposed to produce military equipment, and women entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers to support the war effort. Much of the warfare at the time relied on conventional infantry, artillery, tanks, and air forces. The siege of Stalingrad, the invasion of Normandy, and the Pacific Island hopping campaigns were examples of strategies that required thousands of soldiers engaged in direct combat. The world hadn't yet seen the full potential of aerial warfare or nuclear weapons, so ground forces were critical to military success. As World War II ended, the world entered a new era, the Cold War. Instead of large-scale conventional warfare, the threat of nuclear annihilation reshaped global defense strategies. The two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, realized that massive armies were no longer as essential as they once had been. The world then witnessed the development of nuclear weapons, a powerful deterrent that could destroy entire cities with a single bomb. The idea of large armies began to fade. With the advent of nuclear weapons, the focus of military power shifted from quantity to quality. Large standing armies were no longer necessary because of the potential to obliterate entire cities with the push of a button. A single intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, or a nuclear submarine could serve as a nation's ultimate defense. As we see today, the landscape of warfare has changed dramatically. Modern armies are smaller but more technologically advanced. Maintaining large standing armies is incredibly expensive. Consider the cost of personnel, equipment, training, and logistics. Nations realized that mass armies were financially unsustainable in the post-World War II era. The U.S. military, for example, now has around 1.3 million active-duty personnel. This reduction is not merely a matter of numbers, it reflects a shift in military strategy and the nature of warfare itself. One of the primary reasons for this decline is the advancement of technology. Modern warfare increasingly relies on sophisticated equipment, including drones, cyber capabilities, and precision-guided munitions. For example, the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, allows for surveillance and targeted strikes without putting soldiers in harm's way. These tools allow for more effective operations with fewer personnel. Another thing to note is that during and after World War II, many nations relied on conscription or mandatory military service to fill the ranks of their armed forces. However, conscription was gradually phased out in favor of professional, volunteer military forces. Additionally, international alliances like NATO and regional defense pacts, such as ASEAN, have changed the dynamics of military strength. Countries are pooling their resources and capabilities, which means that the burden of defense is shared. This collaborative approach allows nations to maintain security without the need for massive standing armies. The nature of threats has also evolved. Along with this, we face asymmetric warfare, cyber threats, and terrorism, which required different strategies than traditional state-on-state conflict. The rise of non-state actors, such as terrorist organizations, has shifted the focus from conventional warfare to counterinsurgency and counter-terrorism operations. So, what does this all mean for global security? While smaller armies may seem like a vulnerability, the reality is that modern military forces are designed to be more agile and responsive. The balance between maintaining a smaller, highly trained force and the ability to rapidly expand in times of crisis is a critical consideration for military planners. So, what does the future hold for military forces? As technology continues to advance, we can expect to see even more sophisticated equipment and strategies. The use of artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomous systems will likely become more prevalent, allowing for more efficient and effective military operations. In conclusion, the dramatic drop in the size of modern armies is a reflection of the changing nature of warfare. From the massive mobilizations of World War II to the technologically advanced forces of today, military forces have adapted to meet the challenges of their time. As we look to the future, it's clear that military forces will continue to evolve, incorporating new technologies and strategies to meet the threats of the 21st century. If you found this topic interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into history and more.